What a game. The Washington Commanders are 2-0 for the first time since 2011, beating the Denver Broncos 35-33 in a thriller. It was way too close there at the end, but hey, a win is a win. So I'm going to recap that in today's video. If you guys are new, please subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell as well. Super close to 11,500 subs. We got the win. You might as well do it. Man, that was way too close there at the end. I mean, let's start off from there. I mean, obviously the Washington Commanders were up 35-24, and they get some good stops on, third and goal, and Chase Young and Montez Sweat split that sack. And Chase Young, we're going to get into him in a little bit, but he had an absolutely amazing season debut, and Montez Sweat had a great game as well. They forced a field goal, then the offense goes 3 and out, but that was understandable. They just ran the ball and wasted clock, and then the Seattle Seahawks weren't really moving the ball. You had a couple, short plays, and then I had that play to Cortland Sutton. I was like, dang, now they can actually attempt a Hail Mary. And that was just a pathetic attempt by the DBs there. Emmanuel Forbes was one that I saw, and I think maybe Kendall Fuller was in that mix as well. You can't tip that up. You got to just bat that down. I know there was 2 or 3 guys there, but that just can't happen. You absolutely have to, try to bat that down. And they didn't do that, and it pops up, and I don't know who it was, 89 or whatever, that scores, let's see, it was Brandon Johnson who scores a 50-yard touchdown. Just absolutely pathetic. And then they go for 2, and then it was, arguably a pass interference. I wasn't looking at that, and I didn't get to see the replay, but everyone's saying it was a clear pass interference. So, hey, we got lucky there, but they still would have had to go for it again for the 2-point conversion. It would have been closer, but we maybe got a little bit lucky there. But, hey, we got screwed on that Curtis Samuel one, on Monday night against the Giants or Sunday night. So it is what it is, but we got the win. Let's talk about they were down 21-3. I do not know why all these Ron Rivera teams, and even Jack Del Rio, the defenses, every game, it's the same. It's every Commanders game. It seems like the same thing. Get off to a slow start, start to slowly bring yourself back and then end up winning or losing a close game. Every game almost is like that. There's a couple blowouts here and there, but for the most part, it's that type of game. And the defense started off terribly. I mean, Marvin Mims had a 60-yard catch. I don't know. There was miscommunication there between Percy Butler and Derek Forrest. You had, he had a nice reception on Forbes, and they had a nice punt return as well. But the whole game changed when Jamin Davis made really his first game-changing play as a Washington Commander. He had some good plays before, but that was his first truly game-changing play, and that was the moment where things started to, turn for the better for the Washington Commanders. They forced the fumble there, and, Jamin Davis got away a little bit with a face mask, but we'll take that. He sacks him, forces the fumble, and the Commanders go on to drive down the field, and Sam Howell, I believe that was the one where he threw a pass to Logan Thomas, that was a huge cheap shot, and he got ejected, rightfully so. Logan Thomas with a concussion. He was jogging off, which is good, but he got a concussion, so he's out for this week, maybe next week as well. So hopefully everything's good with him, but that was a dirty hit. But hey, he clutched up and made the catch, which I don't know how he did. And Sam Howell overall had a really good day. 27-39, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Got sacked 4 times. Overall, give him like an A- grade. Was he perfect? No. He took a couple too many sacks and had a couple throws that weren't great, but he was really good for the most part. Brian Robinson, 8 carries, 87 yards, 5 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns, and then also had, 42 yards receiving. I think this is his best day as a Commander, over 120 scrimmage yards and 2 touchdowns, and was efficient on the ground as well. He had a really good day as well. And yeah, the Commanders, chipped away at the lead. They got that touchdown and the 2-point conversion, which Brian Robinson had. And they got a field goal at the end of the half. I'm trying to think how they did it. Howell scrambled, got a, 18-yard gain, but that got called back because of a Charles Leno hold, who did not have a good game. And then he goes and throws a strike to John Bates for a 34-yard gain. John Bates also did not have a very good game. Dropped a couple passes and missed a couple blocks for like a negative 4-yard gain. I don't know why he was getting more this is ridiculous to me. 5 targets for John Bates. That should not be the case. Cole Turner got 2 targets. And on those 2 targets, he had 21 yards. Like, that is very efficient. And John Bates had that 135-yard catch, and that's why his numbers are so much higher than, his numbers are inflated a little bit. But 5 targets for him, and you get, the same amount of targets for him that you give Jahan, and then 1 less than Terry. To me, that's not a great allocation of your targets, but it is what it is. It didn't matter. They got the win. Gibson, 3 catches, 44 yards, had a nice 36-yard run. That is how they need to use him. I don't need to see him get a ton of carries. He did have 2 carries for 9 yards, had a nice 7-yard carry where he bounced to the outside. That was a great play by him, but I don't need to see Gibson, run a bunch. 2, 3, 4 carries a game is fine, but I need to see at least 3 targets for him, arguably more. I would say 4 or 5 targets for him, but that was a great play by him. 36-yard run. I think that set up the Brian Robinson rushing touchdown. Terry McLaurin had a heck of a catch. 5 catches, 54 yards, 1 touchdown. There was, he could have had more. There was 1 pass from Howell that was a little bit, I think it was outside of him, and McLaurin fell. He could have gotten more, but his throw to Terry on that touchdown was great. Terry also just mossed a couple guys. 5 catches, 54 yards, and a tutty. And, De'Ami Brown, he doesn't get a game ball, but he gets, hat tip. 3 catches, 25 yards. Also made a really nice catch on a ball that was slightly behind him. But I think Sam Howell, he had a couple of minor mistakes passing-wise. A couple balls that were slightly outside or behind. But besides that, he had a really solid game, making a bunch of accurate passes, not making any dangerous throws, really. The only other, not knock on his game really today was that he was holding onto the football a little bit too long. But I mean, the offensive line was not playing very well. So, you got to give him a little bit of a pass on that. But man, this was an insane game to come back down from 21-3. It is absolutely huge. Let's get to the defense a little bit. They were awful, absolutely awful in the first half. I mean, allowing 21 points was just ridiculous. Like, the secondary was not on, they were not firing on all cylinders. And then also the linebackers, like Cody Barton had a terrible, terrible first half. And I mean, in the second half, he played a little bit better, but he was part of the reason why we were, losing. I think one of the touchdowns was on him. And then a bunch of the big rushes, big runs that they had were on him too, because him and Jamin Davis, especially him. I don't know about Jamin because I wasn't really watching a ton for him, but a lot on the replays I saw Cody Barton wasn't really filling up the gaps correctly. The D-line also wasn't playing as well as they should have in the first half, but they turned it up in the second half. Some corners that I thought played well, Benjamin St. Juste and Kendall Fuller, I really didn't hear their names too much, which is good when you're a corner. Forbes had an up and down game. He had an interception, which was huge, but if he would have caught that cleanly, man, that was a pick six. He did get beat by Marvin Mims for, I'm trying to see. Marvin Mims had 2 catches for 113 yards. So it was like a 43, 53-yard catch. He got beat a couple other times, but hey, you got the pick. That was huge. And he also had another one where I didn't watch it because my stream shut down, but I heard he got his hand on it, and it would have been an insane pick. So Forbes, a little bit of an up and down day, but he was, he made a huge play for them. I don't think they capitalized on that though. If I remember correctly, which was crazy because he got at the 50. Jamin Davis, again, talked about him, had a good day. Let's talk about Deron Payne. 5 tackles, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 3 QB hits, and blocked a pass as well. He was amazing in this game. Had like 3 consecutive plays where he was just disrupting the game, absolutely disrupting the game. So he is definitely one of the game balls. Montez Sweat, in the beginning, a lot of the D linemen were invisible, but he came to play at the end of the game there. 4 tackles, 2 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, a tackle for loss, and 3 QB hits. What a game from number 90. And then you got Chase Young. Season debut, started off not playing a ton, but they slowly got him in the game. 3 tackles, 2 solo tackles, 1.5 sacks, a tackle for loss, a QB hit, and had a ton of pressures. He had like 2 or 3 plays in a row in like either the second or third quarter where he got pressures on Russell Wilson, or maybe not pressures, but like he affected the play. And I think Chase Young absolutely deserves a game ball. And then besides that, Jonathan Allen was pretty invisible in this game, but maybe things look differently on film. And then also, like, who knows how the guard against him was doing. And then Casey Toole and James Smith-Williams both got a sack. And one thing I want to talk about, Chase Young's first sack was absolutely huge. I thought he was getting held a little bit on that play, or it might have been the other sack, but he comes in there and is able to, track down Russell Wilson. And if Russell Wilson, if Chase Young doesn't do that, Russell Wilson gets the first, and they possibly score a touchdown there. So that was a huge play by Chase Young and saved us some points there. He also had a couple, he had the roughing the passer, which here's what I'll say about that. He didn't have to do it. It didn't affect the play at all. It was also very soft. But the fact that it didn't affect the play and he just really didn't need to do that. It was a soft shove at the end of the play. You don't need to do that, Chase. He's done stuff like that in the past, and hopefully he gets that out of the system, but that's not something you shouldn't do. And yeah, it wasn't great. And then he also had a encroachment, so that was a little bit annoying, but it is what it is. And the next play, he batted down the pass, but then for some reason, I don't know what they called. It was some substitution thing. The CBS broadcast, I don't know if I'll get into it, but they were not great today. But that, I don't know what happened there, but he batted down the pass. I'm putting that in my personal stat sheet or whatever, my brain, that he did that, because that was a huge, that would have been a huge play. But hey, at the end of the day, they got the dub. Let's talk about some other players. But real quick, let's go over my Mojo picks for this week. And a huge shout out to Mojo for sponsoring this video. They just created a new app called Mojo Fantasy. It's cool and exciting. And here are my picks from this game. I, showed them to you guys on my stream. Hopefully some of you guys listened, because it went 3 for 4. So Antonio Gibson, under 6.5 rushing attempts. I told you guys that was a lock. That ended up happening. Jahan Dotson did not hit over 3.5 receptions. Back-to-back weeks with Jahan Dotson not, getting my pick right. It is what it is. We got the win, but I was expecting a little bit bigger day for him, but I think he will be fine going into the rest of the season. Jerry Jeudy, under 4.5 receptions. I was a little bit nervous about that one, but it ended up working out at the end. And then Brian Robinson, over 14.5 rushing attempts. Thought that was a lock, and it worked out. So if you guys use my picks, you guys would have, ended up winning some money. And if you guys haven't checked them out, use my link in the description to download the app and use my code Pedro for a first-time deposit match of up to $100 and 100% deposit match. So it's a really good deal, and I'm giving away a Jahan Dotson jersey signed and a Sam Howell jersey that's also signed as well to people who enter. So you just got to put $10 in, use my code, and send me a screenshot in my email. Links in the description, or just send it to me on Twitter, and you guys are entered and maybe win some tickets as well. Shout out Mojo. But yeah, man, what a win by the Commanders. And I'm not acting like the Broncos are the best team in the world, but they're not a terrible team, or at least I don't think so. Russell Wilson looked good today, especially in the first half. And I think they're going to end up winning, 7, 8, 9 games. So winning against a team like that is very, very important. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be worse than that. They did lose to the Raiders, who, just got crushed by the Bills today, who we're going to have to play. That's going to be a tough game, but it'll be at home. Fans will be excited, but yeah, it was a good, win, and we're 2-0 for the first time since 2011. That's how I start off the video. But let's talk about Howell again. 27 for 39, 299 yards. He had a really good day. Again, the only thing, there's a couple balls that were inaccurate, and that's gonna happen with every quarterback. And he didn't put any balls into harm's way, which is good. And then just taking the sacks, the offensive line was not doing him any favors. Andrew Wiley got beat once. Charles Leno did. I thought Sadiq Charles, I don't know about in the pass blocking game, but I thought he had a couple really, really nice blocks, in the run game, in the screen game with, Brian Robinson. Shout out him. 42 receiving yards for Brian Robinson is, unheard of. And again, shout out Cole Turner. Curtis Samuel wasn't, involved too much, but he had 3 catches for 19 yards. Again, Cole Turner had a good game. Byron Pringle even got a little bit involved, got 1 catch for 4 yards. And yeah, no one had an outstanding game receiving. It was very, very balanced. 4 guys got over 42 yards, and only 1 receiver got over 40 yards, which is very interesting. Jahan got 22. I really think we need to start getting them more involved. Jahan and Terry. They got a combined 11 targets. Let's get that to 13, 14. John Bates, John Bates doesn't need a single target. Even if Logan Thomas is out, give him to Cole Turner, and the rest give those to Terry and Jahan. And then, yeah, I mean, besides, I mean, Brian Pringle doesn't really need a target. Give that to Jahan. But overall, I think, Eric Bieniemy had a really good game in terms of, how he called it. And I really wasn't frustrated with that many play calls. There was one play call. I think it was 3rd and goal after the Jamin Davis forced fumble. And Sam Howell drops back and immediately throws like a laser to Logan Thomas. I think it was Logan Thomas. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was him. And it was like, it wasn't a great throw, but at the same time, it wasn't even a bad throw. It was just not there. The defender was right there. And I was like, okay, why are we doing that? That was one of the plays I had a problem with. Another play that I thought was really good by Sam Howell was either the late 3rd or, 4th quarter. And he drops back, is getting pressured, and then just dumps it off right there to Brian Robinson, and Brian Robinson gets 21 yards. There was another play. They, drop back, and then Howell, looked to the right for a screen, and then kind of looked to Robinson. I think he threw it to Cole Turner. Like 3 different things going on. That worked out. And there were a couple, run plays that were, for negative yardage, which, hopefully they work on. But I thought the offense looked good. I mean, they scored 35 points, man. This is 35 points against a defense that is not bad. I mean, they got Patrick Surtain. They've got Justin Sims. Like, they've got some good defenders there. So to put up 35 points against any team is impressive. But against the Broncos, against a defense that's not terrible and is honestly solid, that's pretty good. And that's the first time we've put up 35 since 2020, I believe. So shout out the Washington Commanders offense. The defense needs some work. That Hail Mary at the end is inexcusable. Put us through way too much as fans. I mean, I was so nervous. And I got I think when the Broncos had the ball and they, before they kicked the field goal, I was getting vibes and flashbacks of that Russell Wilson game against us on Monday night where he, goes in, gets the, touchdown and then doesn't get the 2-point conversion, then onside kick. And Jahan Dotson also fumbled not fumbled, but he muffed that onside kick recovery. So Jahan didn't have the best game, but it is what it is. I mean, he just didn't do a lot, but he wasn't terrible. Joey Sly and Cameron Cheeseman get like can kicks. Let's see. Yeah, Joey Sly was 2 for 4. The first one was a bad snap by Cameron Cheeseman. The second one that he missed was a 59-yarder. I'll give him a pass on that. That's like a tough kick to make. And then Tressway was good. And then Cameron Cheeseman, man, hopefully he gets cut because that was just terrible, man. You cannot do that. Whatever, new snap technique he has, get rid of it and go back to the last one. But yeah, that's it. I don't want to go too long, but appreciate all you guys for watching. Again, hit that like button. Check out Mojo. And man, 2-0, baby. Tomorrow is Victory Monday. I'm excited. Peace, guys.